Hey, welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be unlocking the power of tiny changes to get big results.
Oh, yeah.
And our guide for this whole journey is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
It's a good one.
Have you read this one?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of this book. I think there's a lot of great stuff in there.
Yeah, whether you're trying to, level up your personal life or smash those career goals or just figure out how habits actually work, this deep dive is for you.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about some pretty fascinating stories today, like how the British cycling team used a 1% improvement strategy and totally dominated their field. And then we'll talk about Jerry Seinfeld's never break the chain method to build that consistency. But before we get into those stories, why don't we get some expert insights on the core concepts?
Yeah, so I think what is really captivating about Atomic Habits is that it really focuses on the power of small actions and how they can compound over time to create big results.
Yeah.
It's not about some overnight success.
Right.
It's about understanding that these tiny changes, these atomic habits, can make a big difference.
It's that compounding effect that always gets me. It's so crazy to think about.
It really is.
It reminds me of that story about the British cycling team.
Oh, yeah.
And how they use those 21% improvements to just get insane success.
Yeah, the British cycling team's transformation under their coach, Dave Brailsford, is a great example of this in action.
Yeah.
He was a huge believer in the aggregation of marginal gains.
What does that even mean?
So basically, he looked at every aspect of the team's performance.
Oh, wow.
Everything from their training, obviously, but even down to the pillows they were using.
Real.
And he wanted to make each thing 1% better.
Oh my gosh.
Which doesn't sound like a lot.
Wow.
But when you add it all up, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much easier to think about making these tiny changes rather than just overhauling your whole life.
Right.
So how could we apply that kind of thinking to our own goals? I mean, could you break down a big goal that you have into these smaller 1% improvements?
That's a really good question. And it's a perfect transition into one of the biggest takeaways from the book, this idea of systems over balls.
Okay.
So let's say your goal is to run a marathon.
Okay.
That's amazing. But it's the system that you create, the training, the nutrition, the rest that will actually get you to that finish line.
So you're saying it's more about building a foundation.
Yeah, it's about setting yourself up for success, not just focusing on that end goal.
Not just willpower.
Exactly.
It's about building something.
Yeah.
So that's where those 4 laws of behavior change come in, right?
Exactly. To build a good habit, you need to make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying.
So what would that look like?
Okay, so think about a habit. You want to start drinking more water.
Okay.
To make it obvious, keep a water bottle on your desk.
Okay.
Make it attractive. Get a bottle that you really like.
Oh, the nice one.
One that you'll want to use to make it easy. Set reminders on your phone or use a habit tracking app. And to make it satisfying, reward yourself when you hit your daily goal.
Like a little treat or something.
Exactly.
So it's you're setting yourself up to win.
Yeah.
Instead of just white knuckling it.
It's not just about hoping for the best. It's about being strategic.
I love that.
And then Clear also talks about identity-based habits.
What is that?
This idea that real lasting change comes from changing how you see yourself.
Oh.
Instead of saying, I want to be a runner, you start thinking and acting as if you already are one.
Oh, so it's all about your mindset.
Yeah, it's about aligning your actions with the identity you want to embody.
That makes sense.
And a great example of this is the story of Jerry Seinfeld and his don't break the chain method.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, it's about building consistency through those small actions.
So what is that?
So this young comedian asked Seinfeld for advice on being a better comic, and Seinfeld told him to get a big calendar. And every day that he wrote jokes, he should mark it with a big red X.
I like that.
After a few days, you'll have a chain. Just keep at it, and the chain will grow longer every day. You'll like seeing that chain, especially when you get a few weeks under your belt. Your only job is to not break the chain.
I love that it's so simple.
It is.
But it's so effective.
Right.
It's like turning habit building into a game.
Exactly. And it ties into making habits easy.
Right.
Seinfeld wasn't focused on writing amazing jokes every day. He was focused on showing up consistently, even if it was just for a few minutes. And that leads us to Clear's 2-minute rule.
Okay, how can something that only takes 2 minutes make a difference?
The 2-minute rule is basically starting any new habit with something so easy that it takes less than 2 minutes to do.
Oh, okay.
You want to work out more?
Yeah.
Just start by stretching for 2 minutes each day.
Oh, so you're not like intimidating yourself.
Exactly.
You're just easing into it.
You're just taking that first step and making it super easy.
Oh, I like that.
And you can use it to break bad habits too.
Oh, really? How?
If you're spending too much time on your phone, delete the app.
Okay.
So you have to go through the effort of downloading it again each time.
Oh, so you're adding fiction.
Exactly. Make those bad habits harder to do.
I love that.
It's all about being strategic.
Yeah, and outsmarting yourself a little bit.
Exactly. And then Clear also talks about something called habit stacking.
Okay, I've never heard of this.
It's all about leveraging your existing routines.
Okay.
He has a good example in the book.
What is it?
He wanted to start doing push-ups regularly,
Okay.
but he wasn't really sure how to make it a habit.
Yeah.
So he decided to stack it onto an existing habit,
Like what?
brushing his teeth.
Oh.
Every time he brushed his teeth, he would immediately do a set of push-ups.
So like the brushing is the trigger
Exactly.
for the push-up.
Whistle.
Yeah, you're basically piggybacking on an existing habit.
That's so clever.
It is.
Because you're already doing that other thing anyway.
So you don't even have to think about it.
And that's really important these days because there are so many distractions.
Oh, yeah.
It's harder than ever to make good habits stick.
It's like we're all battling for our own attention all the time.
Yeah. So you really need to make those good habits easy and attractive.
And I think Atomic Habits really highlights that it's all about this like continuous improvement through these small little efforts rather than like relying on willpower.
Willpower is overrated.
Yeah, motivation comes and goes.
It really does.
You can't always depend on it.
You need a system.
And that's why I think Atomic Habits is so helpful.
It gives you that system.
Yeah, it's like a roadmap.
It is.
It's not just a bunch of ideas. It's like a framework.
It's practical.
Yeah.
It's actionable.
And there's so much more to explore.
Oh, yeah. We've just scratched the surface.
But I think it'd be good to highlight a couple more key takeaways.
Okay, what do you have in mind?
Like, what about habit automation?
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
And that long-term perspective thing.
Yeah. Clear talks a lot about how automating routine tasks can free up so much mental space.
Like giving your brain a break.
Exactly.
So you can focus on the important things.
Like if you use a meal planning app or set up automatic bill pay.
It seems so small, but it makes a big difference.
It really does.
You're streamlining your life.
Yeah.
And then the long-term perspective is so important too.
Oh.
I mean, I'm so guilty of wanting things right away.
We all are.
Like instant gratification.
Yeah, but if you can focus on those delayed rewards.
That come from good habits. It really does help you stay motivated.
It really does.
Especially when things get tough.
And we can't forget the success stories in the book.
Oh, yeah.
It's full of inspiring examples of people who achieved amazing things through these small changes.
It's like proof that it works.
Exactly. It shows you that it's possible for anyone.
Yeah, I love that.
It's not just theory, it's real.
It's so encouraging to see those real life examples.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, like it makes you believe that you can do it too.
It really does.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
Remember that goal you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
The one you've been meaning to tackle?
Mm-hmm.
What's one tiny action, one atomic habit that you could do today that would set you on the path to achieving that?
It doesn't have to be big.
No, just one small step.
Just one tiny change.
Because remember, even the smallest step is progress.
That's right. Start small. Stay consistent and watch those tiny changes add up to something amazing.
So we started out talking about the power of atomic habits, right?
Yeah, those small changes that can lead to big results.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then we talked about the 4 laws of behavior change.
Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying.
Yeah, it's all about setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And then we talked about systems over goals.
You gotta have that foundation.
Yeah.
You can't just focus on the end goal.
Right. And we talked about how the British cycling team used those tiny 1% improvements to achieve amazing success.
The aggregation of marginal gains.
That's right. And then we talked about Jerry Seinfeld's Don't Break the Chain method, which is all about consistency.
Show up every day.
Even if it's just for a few minutes.
Exactly.
And then we talked about the 2-minute rule and habit stacking.
Yeah, finding ways to make those good habits easier.
Yeah, and make those bad habits harder.
It's all about strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the importance of automating those everyday tasks.
Free up your mental space.
Yeah.
For the important stuff.
And adopting that long-term perspective.
Delayed gratification.
Right.
It's worth it.
It is. And of course, we talked about those success stories.
Oh, yeah. Those are always inspiring.
Yeah. It's so encouraging to see that it's possible.
For anyone.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on atomic habits, I want to leave you with one final thought. What's one tiny change, one atomic habit that you can implement today that will set you on the path to achieving your goals?
Start small. Stay consistent and watch those tiny changes compound into something truly remarkable. And remember, keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.